feet were cold from October through April, every year, for almost a decade. Not uncomfortable cold, dead cold. The kind that extra socks don't fix because the problem is not on the surface. I would get into bed at night with 2 pairs of wool socks and wake up at 3 in the morning with feet that felt like they'd been packed in ice. My wife noticed before I did. She said it was like sleeping next to someone who'd left their feet outside. I'm 83 years old. I don't have cold feet anymore. Not like that. They're not perfect, but they're mine again. Warm enough, present enough, connected enough that I stopped thinking about them every time I sat down. And the change started with something I drink every single morning before breakfast. 1 glass. Takes 30 seconds to prepare. Costs almost nothing. Your doctor has not mentioned this to you, not because it isn't real. The research exists and it is not obscure. Because connecting cold feet to morning blood sugar to a specific daily habit requires a conversation that your 8-minute appointment cannot hold. I'm going to have that conversation with you right now. Before I do, if your feet are cold year-round, cold at night, cold when the rest of you is warm, drop the word cold in the comments. Tell me how long. I read every one. Here's the mechanism. 2 processes. The second one is the one nobody explains. Process 1. Cold feet in older diabetic adults are not primarily a temperature problem. They are a circulation problem. When blood sugar stays elevated for years, glucose binds to proteins in the walls of your microvessels, the smallest blood vessels supplying your feet and lower legs, in a process called glycation. The resulting compounds stiffen and narrow those vessel walls. Stiffened microvessels cannot dilate properly in response to cold. Blood flow to your extremities drops. Your feet lose heat faster than your body can replace it. The coldness is not in your feet. It is in the vessels that are supposed to be keeping them warm. Process 2. And this is the one your doctor is almost certainly never connected to your feet. Every morning, before you eat a single thing, your liver releases stored glucose into your bloodstream. This is normal. It is your body fueling itself for the day ahead. But in a body with insulin resistance, that morning glucose release is larger than it should be, stays elevated longer, and starts the day's glycation process running before you have even had breakfast. Research has observed that elevated morning glucose creates an inflammatory vascular environment that worsens peripheral blood flow within hours of waking. The coldest your feet feel is often in the first 2 hours of the morning. That is not coincidence. That is the morning glucose pattern at work. What you drink in the first 10 minutes after waking determines which direction that morning glucose pattern goes. If your feet burn at night, or go numb, or feel cold no matter how many socks you wear, please don't ignore it. I almost did, and I'm 80 years old. For years I told myself it was just age, the tingling, the heaviness in my legs climbing the stairs. But it wasn't age. It was my blood sugar quietly damaging the nerves and the circulation in my legs, and almost nobody warned me in time. If you let it keep going, those little signals turn into something you can't undo. I wasn't willing to lose my feet or my independence. So I started doing one thing every single day to help support healthy blood sugar and protect my legs. I'll show you exactly what in this video. And if you want the simple support I personally use, there's a free presentation linked in the description below. What I drink is 1 tablespoon of raw apple cider vinegar, the unfiltered kind with the mother, diluted in 8 ounces of warm water. Every morning before breakfast, before coffee, before anything. The mechanism is not folk remedy, it is documented. The primary active compound in apple cider vinegar is acetic acid. Research has observed that acetic acid activates an enzyme called AMPK in muscle cells, the same pathway activated by exercise. AMPK drives glucose uptake into muscle tissue independently of insulin. It does not need your pancreas. It does not care about your insulin resistance. Studies have observed that consuming diluted vinegar before a meal is associated with meaningful reductions in post-meal blood sugar in people with type 2 diabetes. Taken first thing in the morning, before the liver's glucose release peaks, it intervenes at the moment the day's glycation environment is being set. The second mechanism is vascular. Research has associated regular acetic acid consumption with reduced oxidative stress markers in peripheral vessel walls. the same walls that glycation has been stiffening. Less oxidative stress in those walls means better capacity for vasodilation. Better vasodilation in your peripheral microvessels means more blood reaching your feet. More blood means more heat. More heat means feet that feel like yours again. 1 tablespoon, warm water, 8 ounces. The warm water matters. It supports morning vasodilation on its own. Do not drink it straight. Undiluted vinegar can damage tooth enamel and irritate the esophagus. Always dilute. Use a straw if you can. Raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar with the mother. Available at almost any grocery store, under $7 for a bottle that lasts weeks. Talk to your doctor before starting, particularly if you take insulin or medications that lower blood sugar. The glucose-lowering effect is real, and your dosing may need attention. Now here's something I need you to understand, because it is the difference between people who get a little relief and people whose feet actually change. The vinegar is not a magic bullet. It works because it is one piece of a system. 1 glass of vinegar against a whole day of an unsupported blood sugar environment is a single sandbag against a flood. What changed my feet was not the vinegar alone. It was the vinegar inside a small, deliberate routine. Let me give you the 3 pieces I pair it with, because each one closes a different gap. First, protein before carbohydrates at every meal, starting with breakfast. When you eat protein first, eggs, Greek yogurt, before any bread or fruit, research has shown your body releases a gut hormone called GLP-1 that slows glucose absorption and flattens the spike that follows. A flatter spike all day means less glycation reaching the vessels in your feet. The vinegar sets the morning tone. The protein-first habit holds it through every meal. Second, a 10-minute walk after dinner. Not exercise, just movement. Research has shown that short walking after a meal activates a glucose transporter in muscle tissue that pulls sugar out of your bloodstream independently of insulin. You are clearing the evening glucose load before the overnight window even begins. By the time you sleep, you are starting from a lower number, which means a smaller morning glucose release the next day, which means warmer feet when you wake. Third, warm your feet from the inside before bed, not just the outside. Socks trap heat that is barely arriving. A short period of gentle movement before sleep, ankle circles, a few minutes on your feet, pushes blood into those narrowed vessels mechanically when the body is least likely to do it on its own. It is the difference between insulating a cold room and actually turning on the heat. Vinegar in the morning, protein before carbs, a walk after dinner, movement in your feet before bed. 4 small things, none of them expensive, none of them requiring a prescription. The vinegar is where it starts. The system is what makes it hold. A woman wrote to me recently, 76 years old, 18 years diabetic. Cold feet every single morning, year-round, for 7 years. She'd been told it was circulation. She'd been told to keep warm. Nobody had ever connected her morning glucose pattern to what was happening in her peripheral vessels. Nobody had asked what she was drinking first thing in the morning. When she started addressing the morning window deliberately, the vinegar, warm water, protein first at breakfast, the walk after dinner, the pattern shifted. Over months, not weeks. Her feet did not become perfect, but they stopped being the first thing she thought about every morning. I share that not as a guarantee, but as a pattern I've heard described more times than I can count. If you made it this far, you already understand more about your own legs than most people your age ever will. That matters. You know now that the burning, the numbness, the cold feet, they trace back to one thing: blood sugar slowly working against your nerves and circulation. And you know the goal isn't a miracle. It's protecting your ability to stand, to walk, to stay independent. That's why, alongside everything I showed you today, I use a simple daily support to help keep my blood sugar in a healthy range, so my legs keep carrying me where I want to go. I put the free presentation in the description below. Go watch it. And as always, keep working with your doctor. This supports your routine. It doesn't replace it. I want you to stop and think about something for a moment, because it is the thing that actually matters underneath all of this. Think about the people you know who are your age, or who were. The ones who still walk where they want to go, who still stand at the counter and cook, who still feel the floor under their own 2 feet, and the ones who don't, the ones who stopped walking, stopped going out, started waiting for someone to drive them, to help them, to carry what they used to carry. What separated those two groups? Most people say luck, some say genetics. I've watched this for a long time, and what I see over and over is something quieter. The ones still walking are the ones who paid attention to the small signals early, the cold foot, the numb toe, the morning their feet didn't wake up right, and did something about it while it was still small. Your feet carry your independence. Cold feet are the first letter of a word you do not want to finish reading. You can put the pen down now. Cold feet are not a verdict. They are a signal. Specifically, a signal about what your peripheral microvessels are doing in response to a blood sugar environment that has not been fully addressed. That environment can be changed, starting in the first 10 minutes of every morning and held through the day with a simple system, with things that cost less than $1 a week and take a few minutes a day. If you choose to support that blood sugar environment seriously, alongside your doctor's plan, the link below covers a natural blood sugar support option designed to complement your treatment, not replace it. Look at it. Bring it to your next appointment. One conversation with your doctor is all it takes. Drop "cold" in the comments. And if you know your fasting number, put that next to it. Tell me which season is worst and how long this has been going on. I read every single one. Your feet are not broken. The morning environment they wake up in has been working against them. Now you know what to change first and what to build around.